All right, what I have here is a coil of wire. And I got two ends here that I've stripped so that I can connect to that coil. And obviously this coil is not set up to spin in any particular way. It's just a coil of wire here. But I'm going to generate electricity in here. I'm going to induce current in here. And inducing is the word you use when you're using a magnetic field as a way to create electricity rather than using a voltage to create electricity to generate current. So when you use a magnetic field, that process is called induction, and it is said that you are inducing a current. So I'm going to induce a current in here. Now, on the generator, it was the coil that we spun around inside a magnetic field. But there's no reason why the coil has to do the moving and the magnetic field stays static. There's no reason why we can't have the coil being static and move the magnetic field instead. And when you do that, then this is referred to as a pickup coil. So I'm going to induce current in the pickup coil by moving a magnet around it. Now, this is going to generate very little current. So I don't have a light bulb that would react to that. So I can't make it vivid in that sense. But what I can do is I can bring in, what I have here is a meter, an ammeter, that can set up to measure current. Okay, and I'm hoping that you can see that. I'm hoping that that's relatively easy to see. So anyway, there's, as you can see, there's no current in there right now. I have my permanent magnet. I'm going to bring my permanent magnet over, and as I do, you'll see the coil will immediately begin responding by generating current. Now, this isn't a lot of current. We're talking microamps here. But you can see I'm getting some, pretty decent numbers by moving the magnet around here. Any kind of motion of the magnet is doing this. Now, just in case you wonder if you've ever seen a device like this before, if you have a credit card or a bank card, and on the back of the bank card there's a magnetic strip, and you go and you swipe the magnetic strip, you may know that you're supposed to actually move the credit card or the bank card. You're supposed to move the card, and you're supposed to move it quickly. All right, and the reason why you're doing that is because you're basically taking a magnet and swiping it past the coil. This is what you're doing. You're going past the coil. You can't see the coil. It's inside the mechanism there. And it's generally a very small coil, and it creates a very small current that corresponds to whatever information is on the magnetic strip in the back. And you get this changing magnetic field, and then this gets amplified into a current that a circuit somewhere can do something with. Okay, so this is using a pickup coil, and this is how it works. If I stop moving the magnet, even though the magnet's inside the coil, you'll notice no current at all. The magnet has to be moving, or the magnetic field has to be changing in some way. If I take a little piece of this magnet and do this, whoops, I need to get it to actually stand up. Let's see if I can try that again. I get it to, doesn't want to stand up. There we go. All right. If I can get the magnet to stand up in there, then it turns out any piece of metal, let's see if I can find something here. Any piece of metal, if I bring it near that magnet, that piece of metal will affect, I'm just using my wire cutters here, but any piece of metal in here will have an influence on that magnetic field just enough to generate. So I can actually detect whether metal is moving. This is sort of the idea behind an electric guitar, is that you have a little pickup, a little magnet in there, and the metal wire on the guitar vibrates back and forth and generates a tiny little bit of current. So there are a number of devices that work on this, but the main idea is that the changing magnetic field from here is inducing a current in that coil.